we like to say that we're a service company that happens to sell shoes, and we actually sell a lot more than shoes today. We sell clothing, kitchenware, housewares, all sorts of stuff, and our vision, our hope is that 10 years from now, people won't even realize that we started out selling shoes online. Fred actually oversees the merchandising department, and so is in charge of deciding what other products we sell online in the future. But this year, we're making a big push into clothing. But 20 or 30 years from now, it doesn't even have to be limited to online. We've talked about the possibility of starting a Zappos airline, for example. That's just about the very best customer service. So I guess one brand that we look to for inspiration sometimes is Virgin. Like, they do a lot of different businesses, music, airlines, and so on. The difference is that the Virgin brand is more about being hip and cool, whereas we just want the Zappos brand to be about the very best service. Our whole philosophy is that a company's culture and a company's brand are really just two sides of the same coin. The brand is really just a lagging indicator of culture. So right before you, I was talking to another reporter, and he said you guys have a company here called Telefonica. If you asked a random Brazilian what they think of Telefonica, what do you think they would say?
Horrible. Terrible.
Right, and so, but Telefonica doesn't have billboards that say we're horrible, right? They don't do television ads that say we're horrible, but if you ask any Brazilian, that's their response, and that's the brand. Right? It doesn't matter. The brand is in the minds of the consumers, and it's just, and that's a reflection of ultimately the culture of the company. There was a time back in 2003 where there was a combination of 75% of our revenue was being done by, we were selling items that we owned in our warehouse, and then the other 25% were in our suppliers' warehouses, so they would ship it to the customer. But the problem was that the suppliers just weren't as reliable. A lot of times they didn't have the item in stock, or they would ship slowly, so it was a bad customer experience, but it was 25% of our revenue. And when we decided we really wanted to focus on delivering the very best customer service, we basically just turned off that 25% of revenue overnight. And and that's an example where we knew that was the right thing to do for our brand long term, but in the short term it was very scary, and we weren't profitable at the time. We couldn't raise funding, but we walked away from that 25%. And if you want to make as much money as possible in year one of starting something, or say year one of getting out of college and doing something, like, there's plenty of jobs that pay a lot of money in year one. Like, you could be one of the people that valets cars, or bartender, for example, and you'll make a lot of money during the first year. But the problem with that is, if that's all you're doing, 10 years later down the road, you're going to be making pretty much the same amount of money. There's no real growth in it. Whereas our philosophy at Zappos is, we don't need to make a lot of money this year or even next year. Let's just make sure that we're doing the right things, so that the decisions we're making today will have a positive impact 10 years down the line. Maybe it wasn't possible 50 years ago or 100 years ago, but I think there's actually a way where you can make customers happy and make employees happy, and ultimately make the investors or shareholders happy. And it used to be you had to choose, and I think now we're living in a time where technology and just the way our society works, where it's actually possible to have all three. And really, the best businesses are the ones that combine profits and passion and purpose. And so what it used to be is, a lot of businesses only worry about the profits part of it, and then there are a lot of say nonprofits that only worry about the purpose part of it. But if you can actually combine all three of those things, and I think that's kind of the perfect business. Happier employees, and happier employees are more engaged and more productive. But there's been plenty of studies that show an engaged employee adds a lot to the productivity of that employee. I guess for us, we really just trust our employees, and we believe that you can get your employees to understand the long-term vision and the values of the company, and if that's something they want to be a part of, then they'll want to contribute to the company on their own. And if you don't trust your employees, then you probably shouldn't be hiring them. So we have a lot of tours. Anytime it's open to the public. Actually, we give tours Monday through Thursday. So if anyone next time you're in Las Vegas wants to come for a tour, it's a lot of fun. It takes about an hour. Just go to tours.zappos.com and you can just sign up right there. So we have a lot of companies come through on tours. Sometimes there's 50 tours going on in a day. But then we've had other companies come and they want to spend a full day or sometimes 2 days with us, and so that just kind of evolved into Zappos Insights, where if you go to www.zapposinsights.com, it's a video subscription service where anyone can ask questions and we'll get the right person within Zappos to answer it. So if it's a recruiting question, we'll get our head of recruiting to answer it, and then she'll answer it on video, and then it's available to everyone. And we also have, and then that evolved into, we have this thing now called Zappos Insights Live, where we actually have one coming up in October, and we just did one in July, where 20 people come from all over the country, actually all over the world, and it's basically spend 2 days just immersed in our culture, and we have presentations from different departments and so on, and it's really each one has a slightly different theme. The one we just did is really about how do you build and make your own company culture stronger. There's nothing wrong with another company being successful, and if anything, we want more companies to be successful. And if they can be successful by making employees and customers happy, then that's making the world a better place. And then, I guess, in terms of copying art, specifically the Zappos culture, I don't think any two companies, like the culture is one of those things that can't be copied. You can come in and see it, but no matter what you see, you still can't go back and just copy it. Yeah, we're happy to send a free copy of the culture book to you. It's something we put out once a year, and we ask all our employees to write a few paragraphs about what the Zappos culture means to them. And except for typos, it's unedited. And the one we did last year was, I think, close to 500 pages. So you can really get a good feel of what the Zappos culture is like. So yeah, just send me an email, Tony, Tony, at zappos.com, and include your physical mailing address, because it's an actual physical book, and I'll send one out to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.